A hazy morning, empty streets, and eerie silence in the air. Imagine a city. Home to millions. Bustling markets, glowing houses, streets alive with the sound of traffic. And then a single night passes. Morning comes and the city has vanished. No screams, no signs, no explanation. Just silence. This is the city that vanished overnight. A reality stranger and more terrifying than fiction. Our story begins in a small town we'll call Meridian. A peaceful city where the sun rose at roughly the same time every day. People went about their work. Children went to school. And at night, the whole city slept, just like any ordinary life. It was the kind of place nobody ever expected to make headlines. No crime waves, no political unrest, nothing unusual. Just an ordinary town, living an ordinary life. Then one morning, a truck driver delivering goods from a neighboring city stopped outside Meridian. He saw the streets were empty. Shops were open, but no one was inside. Cups of tea sat on tables, still warm. Radios were playing. Traffic lights still changed from red to green, cycling for no one. But the people, gone. He drove further in, honking his horn, calling out. Nothing. He tried the local police station. The doors were unlocked. The lights were on. Coffee still brewing in the pot. But not a single officer in sight. Something was deeply, deeply wrong. Police from nearby towns were called. Then the army. Then the media. Within hours, Meridian became the center of the world's attention. Over 50,000 people had simply vanished, as if dissolved into the air. No traces of blood, no signs of struggle, no explosion or fire. Just an empty city frozen in the middle of an ordinary evening. The investigation began immediately. First, they checked the CCTV cameras scattered across the city. But strangely, after 11:47 p.m., every single camera showed nothing but static, as if the signal had been cut, across the entire city at the exact same moment. Not gradually, not street by street. All at once, scientists were baffled that the power grid was still running, water supply was normal, hospital generators were working. Even the elevators in office buildings still moved between floors. Yet the people who should have been operating, riding, or maintaining any of it were simply gone. Investigators searched hospitals, schools, homes. Beds were left unmade, some still warm. Half-eaten dinners sat on kitchen tables. A birthday cake, candles half melted, sat untouched in someone's living room. It was as if every single person in Meridian had been interrupted in the exact same instant, mid-action, and simply ceased to exist where they stood. Some believed it was an accidental chemical leak that caused people to flee in confusion, perhaps toward the surrounding forests or highways. But search teams combed the region for weeks, with dogs, drones, and thermal imaging. Nothing. If people had fled on foot, there would have been footprints, abandoned belongings, something. There was nothing. Others claimed it was a secret military experiment, testing some new, unknown weapon capable of removing living matter without a trace. Government officials denied any such program existed, though skeptics pointed out that governments rarely admit to such things, whether true or not. Some even suggested it was the result of contact with another world. A theory dismissed by scientists but embraced by many who visited the abandoned city afterward, searching for their own answers. But the strangest discovery investigators made was at the very center of the city. An old clock tower, sealed shut for decades, long before the disappearance. When they finally broke the door open, the walls inside bore strange markings, scorched and twisted, as if something immense had passed straight through the structure without physically touching it. The clock tower's clock had stopped at the exact same time as the CCTV cutoff, 11:47. Investigators began to wonder if the clock tower held some deeper connection to the events of that night, perhaps even a cause, rather than a coincidence. But no wiring, no hidden devices, no explanation was ever found inside. Months later, a retired geologist, Dr. Elena Ross, proposed a new theory that gained significant attention. She believed Meridian had been built over an unknown underground cavity, one that had been slowly weakening for decades, perhaps centuries. Her theory was that a sudden, silent sinkhole collapse occurred that night, so quiet and so deep that only what was underground, or perhaps only living beings themselves, were swallowed, leaving the surface world completely untouched. But this theory had a serious problem. If the ground had truly collapsed, the building should have shown some structural damage, cracks, shifting foundations, something. Yet Meridian's houses, shops, and streets remained exactly as they were, completely intact, down to the smallest details. Picture frames still hung straight on walls. Glassware sat unbroken on shelves. Only the people were missing. Years passed, and no government agency, scientific team, or independent investigator ever produced a conclusive answer. Meridian became one of the most studied unsolved mysteries in modern history, discussed in documentaries, debated in universities, and theorized about endlessly online. Even today, after all these years, Meridian still stands, a ghost town, frozen in time. Officially declared off-limits by the government, Passatandsbeifing and warning signs, the city remains largely untouched, its buildings slowly weathering with time, while everything inside remains eerily preserved. Occasionally, researchers are granted access to study the site further, but each expedition returns with more questions than answers. Some report a strange, heavy stillness in the air, unlike anything they've felt elsewhere. Others describe overwhelming fatigue or discomfort after just a few hours inside the city limits, though no medical explanation has ever been found. Some say that at night, if you stand near Meridian's outer fence, you can hear faint sounds drifting from within, voices in a marketplace, the hum of traffic, a child's laughter. But when you look, there's nothing there. Just empty streets, exactly as they were left, waiting. Did those people go somewhere else? Were they taken? Are they still alive somewhere, in some other place or time? Or is Meridian simply a reminder of how small and fragile humanity truly is against the mysteries of our own planet, our own universe? Perhaps we will never know the truth. Perhaps some mysteries are meant to remain unsolved, reminding us that for all our knowledge, all our science, and all our certainty, there are still things beyond our understanding. But one thing remains certain. Until an answer is found, Meridian's silence will keep forcing us to ask a question none of us truly want to answer. If an entire city can vanish overnight, without warning, without explanation, how safe are any of us, really?